Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome again to the deck. It's another beautiful spring day. Still on holidays, so I'm taking the time to shoot a little bourbon. Today, I want to talk to you about an Old Scout release. It's from Smooth Ambler, sourced whiskey. This is a pretty big bourbon. So, we're gonna talk about Old Scout from Smooth Ambler, which is, sourced bourbon. This is a cask strength at 58.1. And then I'll do a few comparison thoughts with Booker's because it's one of the cask strengths that I have on the shelf. So if you have any cask strength bourbon, why don't you pour a dram and come on back and we'll talk Old Scout from Smooth Ambler. 3, 4. Well, thanks for coming back. As I said in the opener, we're going to talk a bit of, pretty big cask strength bourbon. And this Old Scout, I think all the Old Scout releases now, this is the only one I've had, but I think they are all, hand-selected single cask releases from Smooth Ambler. Smooth Ambler doesn't distill their own. This one's from Indiana. It's classic MGP liquid. Released at 58.1%. I also believe this one has a very high rye mash bill, somewhere around 36%. So it could be 36 for barley and the balance in corn. What's also kind of neat about this one is the importer, it's on here, Sovereign Wine and Spirits, is donating $5 for every one of these bottles sold to, this one's the Canadian Professional Bartenders Association. I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And so, I actually was on a good sale. I'll talk about that later. But, this is a 5-year-old cask strength bourbon. As I said, high rye, 36%, and it's released at 58.1. Let's talk bourbon. So out here in the fresh air, it's got to have a strong nose to really carry through. And this one does. It is a high sweet caramels, lots of toffee. I expected more spice on the nose, and all I'm really getting is a little bit of cinnamon. Okay. So, I started high with some sweetness, and now I'm getting a little more savory spices. Bit of alcohol burn there on the nose too. This is a good bourbon. It's bold on the nose. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. One of the first things that makes its presence known for me in that sip is the rye. It is nice and spicy, cracked black pepper, but it almost has a little bit of herbal note, a little bit of grass, and then it goes right into sort of a sweet, caramel bourbon. The oak is there, but it's not powerful for me in this one. Like, it's there for sure. Got some nice backbone, a little bit of char, some nice, oak that makes its presence in that early finish and even the longer finish. But for me, it's a little sweeter, and then it's really quite a lot about the rye. Let's try a second sip. Yeah, that's really good. Actually, it kind of reminds me a little bit of bourbons coming out of Texas. By that, I mean it's spicy, it's savory. We've got nutmegs, a little bit of walnut, lots of cinnamon, cracked black pepper, and then there's, sweetness, a caramel toffee kind of sweetness, but not a lot of fruit. I would say it's kind of drying on the palate. It drinks absolutely as a very high rye bourbon in a style that I quite enjoy. I got this bottle from a great store in Sherwood Park. I'm going to say it's Everything Wine and More, but that's not quite it. It's something close to that. Fine wine, everything wine and more. Anyways, they had this on sale, and then they had 15% off anything in the store. So, of course, I ran around and picked up bottles that were already on sale and added the 15% off. And so this made it a really good deal. And for a 58.1% hand-selected bourbon, this is good. If it's not that good a deal in your neighborhood, should you consider this? I know they did a Bartenders one, this Canadian one. This is the only Old Scout that I've had, and I like it a lot. Now it's singing in a style that I'm enjoying right now. Spicy, savory, still sweet, but not, I don't know. This bourbon style is speaking to me, and I like this. Sucker for cask strength. Finish goes on forever. This sits at a strong 4 stars for me. I wanted to shoot it against something that I had on the shelf that was similar strength and you could at least have a conversation. So this is a Booker's release. This is actually still Granny's batch, and Booker's mash bill is quite a bit less rye, but compared to 36, obviously we're not in the same ballpark. So I've been talking out here on the deck. I poured these about 10 minutes before I started, so this has been sitting in the sunshine for a good 20 minutes. This nose has really evolved into classic Booker's peanut brittle. So I've got, sweet sponge toffee, caramel, cooked sugars with a peanut oil and nuttiness just coming through. Man, my mouth is watering. Cheers. Palate, so good. Less cracked pepper, certainly no herbaceous kind of grassy rye note that I'm getting in the Old Scout. Sweeter, creamier almost. That sponge toffee, I just had some on our trip. So that that cooked sponge toffee, I can't remember how to explain it, but this is really reminding me of that, like sweet but kind of chewy, sticky toffee pudding. Another sip just because it's so good. Wow. I really like Granny's batch. Clearly, I enjoy it more than the Old Scout. It is just so thick and coating and rich and chewy and good and hugging and all of the things that I'm looking for in a big, bold bourbon. Easy 4.5 for me. Now, take that with a grain of salt. In the last few years, have really become a fan of Booker's, and this house style is really speaking that for me. So, if you're not singing on that song sheet, that's okay. I'm too glowing with this, but this particular Granny's batch is just a great bourbon for me. If you see this Old Scout though, I would take a risk on it if you're into cask strength bourbons. A little savory, a little spicier, rye presence, not that much fruit. But if that is something that you're interested in, give it a try. Wow, I couldn't ask for better spring weather, and I'm so thankful that you guys could join me out here for a moment, and glad that I had the time not just to pour these and sip, but to be able to now go off camera, edit, enjoy, talk with my family, and just relax. I hope you too find a weekend or a day off where you can just rest and recharge. I think we're all probably a little more tired than we know. You guys have a great week.